What Dumas would make of all this? You doubt he would approve?
Yes, his approval would be a dubious proposition at best. Soft out of Frenchie.
Alexandre Dumas was black. I love how that doesn't even make the slaveholder character fucking reconsider. He's just like, well, whatever.
Right.
There we go. Now I'm in something a little more styling. What's up, everybody? Well, it looks more styling to me, but it's not necessarily actually more styling. We'll see. We will see. Okay. What's up, everybody? Copperhead Road. Copperhead Road. Copperhead Road.
This is gonna be so much fun tomorrow night.
Oh my god, I know. It's gonna be wild. Shit is going to be.
Did any of those people say they were trying to meet up tonight, or?
I don't know. What's up? You're in chat. No. Not yet, but it will not surprise me if Desi's down to hang out. She was talking about wanting to hang out yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
I don't know though.
Yeah.
I feel like we should put out a call a little bit later, and I'll put out a call on the Discord to see if anybody wants. You know, we'll see if we can.
I'll keep my phones off do not disturb mode. So
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You try to get a hold of me or whatever.
Cool.
I'll be going live here in a little bit. I'm gonna be doing some deliveries, so.
Cool. Yeah. No, I figured.
So maybe we can figure something out later.
Ooh, I like this. Legalized dreamfish, Colorado river toad, cane toad, yopo, vilca, iboga, erythroxylon coca, peyote, San Pedro, kratom, ayahuasca vines, cannabis, hemp, magic mushroom, salvia, all holy medicines. I agree with you, Plant Life. I agree with you, 600 Plant Life. Legalize all this shit. I legitimately do not think that there should be any mind-altering substance held from the people. Because, frankly, I think people have a right to control what goes into their bodies and a right to control what happens to their brains.
There should be Jankum dispensaries.
Yeah, there should be Jankum dispensaries. There basically already are, though. You realize that, right? You ever been to a pit? You ever been to a vault toilet?
I'm a gig worker. I know about the Jankum dispensaries.
Yeah, trust me. Glitch knows about the Jankum dispensaries. Dude, a pit toilet out in the fucking desert Southwest. really is a Jenkin dispensary.
Right.
Yeah,
It's very popular among Zambian youth.
exactly. Hey man, any advice on circumcision tomorrow? Thanks.
I would say just don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
No.
Stop converting to Judaism.
No genital mutilation.
Yeah, no genital mutilation. I mean, if you're gonna, I guess, do whatever you want. Don't jerk off for the next 6 weeks. I'll tell you that much. That's the best advice I could give. Don't jerk off.
Don't do it for religious purposes. That's for sure.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it because you like the way your cock's gonna look cut. Bro, I ain't trusting anything that comes out of your mouth. Well, I don't know why. Trans people have been shown to be more intelligent on average than cisgender people. Just like as a statistical analysis. That's not to say every trans person is automatically smarter than any given cisgender person. It's just when you look at the IQs next to each other, there is a little bit of a curve. Just saying. Just pointing that out. Just putting it out there into the room. Why can't you just be normal and not have to show it off? I feel like normal people show off things all the time. Not only that, I don't exactly know what I'm showing off. Like, this is not me showing off. Like, I'm going to be trans no matter what because I'm not comfortable in men's clothing. It's just that simple.
It's just who you are.
Yeah. Like, whoever is, like, people are themselves, dude. Just let people live. Like, for real. Jesus can heal you. I don't need healed. This is not me needing healed. This is me healing. You're watching the healing process going on live in front of you. Put dude on camera. I want to see him. Say hi, Glitch Dash.
I have a channel, you know.
Yeah, he does have a channel.
I do have a YouTube channel, just so you know.
He does. Just look up Glitch Dash. You'll find it. He's the first result. And if you're a gig worker, you should really go subscribe to his channel because he does, like, that's what his channel is focused on, is like making the most amount of money you can out of whatever gig workshop you have. So if you're a DoorDasher, Uber Eats driver, something like that, that man can help you understand how to look at what you're doing as more of a business and not just supplemental income. So check out Glitch Dasher's channel if you haven't checked it out already. It comes in the chat sometimes. So you're trans and he got Down syndrome? No, Glitch Dash is an incredibly smart guy, incredibly quick guy too. I would never even think he has Down syndrome. Not that it's wrong to have Down syndrome. There are plenty of successful, hardworking people with Down syndrome. That's what I don't get, is why people would use it as an insult. I mean, every Downs person I know has a job and hobbies.
Oh, that's what happened. I had got a reservation for today, and then I had to book us an extra day early, and when that happened, the key cards got canceled. That's why we couldn't get in before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now, because I just got a text message that says we're ready for you to check in. It's like I gotta check the front desk to make sure
everything's Gucci. Yeah.
They know we're here. So.
Are you a girl? Yeah, I'm a girl. Glitch is top tier mod coming through with the ride is legendary. I know, dude, and it has been tremendously fun, you guys. This has been one of the coolest experiences of my life, and I traveled, so that means a lot. You're wonderful as you are. Fuck everybody else. Just be yourself. That's the way I feel. Like, I don't feel like any particular need to change because of what people on the internet, especially not people in my chat, say about it.
Theory.
Huh?
Most of these haters are not even real people. Just remember that.
Right. Dead internet theory.
Always keep that in mind.
Yeah. A lot of the people you see hating in chat are not even actual people.
They estimate on YouTube at least 50% of interactions, or possibly more, are actually just computers interacting with other computers.
Right. So, like, Trini in Jersey might be real. Miles Deep almost certainly isn't.
All I'm saying is, like, unless the person has a channel, or they get up on the StreamYard, or you talk to them on the phone, or you meet them in person, there's no one to rule out.
Right. Right. That's one of the reasons why it's so difficult to have a conversation online, is because I would say like a good 50% of the people are like actual human beings trying to have some kind of conversation, and the other 50% are bots that have agendas and
spewing venom.
Right, they're just spewing venom and vitriol. Precisely. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. I haven't pimped up much of the stream because I keep forgetting about it, but please do hit that like button. And yeah, hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, it's a chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people who can engage in chat. Man, I sound like a fucking infomercial when I do that. Yeah. Price is $19.99 plus shipping and handling.
I know.
Dude in the back, definitely a pred. You guys are fucking weird. That is projection, sir. That is projection. you are probably a predator. If you're one of these people who looks at random people and says, pedo, predator, that is almost certainly an indication of what's on your fucking hard drive, buddy. Not mine. Not his.
First of all, I was acquitted by a jury of my peers, but not for what you're thinking of.
Yeah. So there you go, bitches.
All right, I'm gonna do some deliveries, so I'll catch up with you in probably a few hours here.
Alrighty. Yeah.
Have fun.
Have fun. Bro got mad as fuck. No, he was just playing with you guys. Glitch has a very good theatrical anger, and he's got very good deadpan. So Glitch does all kinds of wild shit, and I have to ask him, like, "Are you serious? Is that true? Is that real?" And he's like, "No, I'm just messing with you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. I wish there was some way for me to improve the light situation in here. I wonder if I turn. I'm gonna try something real quick. We'll try something real quick here. Open that, and then if I turn this light on over here. I don't know what light that does. I don't know what that does. So I'm just going to leave it off. But that should provide us with enough ambient light for us to be relatively well seen. Alrighty. Cool. That's a little better. It's not the best, but it's a little better. If you sit with your camera in the corner with the window and a sheet on your side, it should diffuse the light nicely. That'd be so much work to set up, though. You know what would be honestly really nice is if I just set the camera up next to the window, but I don't have. There are no movable tables in this room, and this the thing I'm using can't attach to the window. But that would be a good idea if I had any way to set it up. Those leggings, those are pants, not leggings. It's a hotel, yes. I'm in a hotel. Trump 2028. Man, dude, Mike Johnson came out and said you guys are trolling with that. I don't even believe it anymore. Trump 2028, bro. Whatever. You guys ain't gonna do it. Mike Johnson himself said that it would be an impossible task. That even if we did try and challenge, we meaning him and the Republicans, even if they did try to challenge the 22nd Amendment, it wouldn't matter because by the time they got 2/3 states and the legislation and like the legislature and all that on board, by the time all that happened, Trump would already be out of office. The election would have already transpired, and the chance to even make him a candidate would have done high. But I also want to point out that Trump is he's in pretty bad health right now, guys. Like Trump is not long for this world. He's a very old man, and the idea that he's just going to be able to permanently and forever deal with this. Deal with these ongoing health issues. I don't know. To me, it just seems like short-sighted to even think that he'll be around long enough to run again in 2028, even if he was allowed to. Even if he was allowed to, I don't think he would be in good enough health to. Trump is sick. He is. He's like deathly ill. You got ongoing health issues? Not nearly as bad as Donald Trump's, though. Jesus Christ. I'm not actively dying in front of your eyes, I'll tell you that much. All kinds of stuff. You serious? I really enjoy smell. Oh, man, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read that one. Oh, wow, another dude dressed as a chick. Oh, wow, another. That's interesting because I have literally never had any heart issues. So thanks for letting me know, Doc. Thanks for letting me know. Happy Halloween, by the way. I keep forgetting that it's Halloween today, but it is. Today is Halloween Day. So happy Halloween, everybody. Oh, okay.
What I needed for a couple days here.
Huh? Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I was wondering what we were supposed to do with it.
Yeah, shit like that. Now we're done with it.
I don't know if we were supposed to leave it in the room until we were done or what.
Other people can use it. So. All right, see you later.
Alrighty. Cool. Glad you had to come back in and get the luggage cart. I thought you had a costume on. No, this is how I dress every day. Not this exact outfit, obviously, but no, I'm a woman every day of the year, my friend. Just another day for you, huh? I would like to dress in a costume this Halloween, but I don't have any lined up. I don't have anything like set and ready. I don't know. Maybe I'll end up scoring a costume between now and tomorrow, because tomorrow is when I'm celebrating Halloween. I'm celebrating it tomorrow with the Deep Fat Fried Clifton meetup. Thoughts on Charlie Kirk? I think Charlie Kirk was a backwards, bigoted moron who nevertheless did not deserve to die shot dead like a dog on the street. I think it's important to remember who he was, and what he was an incredibly divisive figure in American politics, but he was also a figure in American politics, and I think everybody has the right in this country to be wrong, ultimately. I think Charlie Kirk was wrong about almost everything he ever said. Every so often I'd catch him saying something that I agreed with or that was based in fact, but usually he was talking crazy shit. And I think you have a right in this country to talk crazy shit and to be massively wrong. And I think every time someone dies because of their political positions or because of their rhetoric, like rhetorical positions or whatever, that is another day closer that we are to the death of democracy. Now, the exception for that is obviously when somebody is actively making calls for violence, but I don't think Charlie Kirk was actively making calls for violence. He was certainly excusive of right-wing violence when it happened, but I don't think he actively made calls for that. At least I haven't heard him making calls for that. So I think killing Charlie Kirk was probably a pretty bad idea, depending on who did it. If it was the right wing that did it, I think it was the smartest thing they could have possibly done, because killing Charlie Kirk gave them all of the casus belli that they needed for Trump to be able to deploy the National Guard to even more left-wing cities, for him to continue these ICE deportations and ramp them up. It's basically giving them carte blanche to do whatever they want to do in terms of destroying American democracy. And they are taking their opportunity. So I think if it was the right that killed him, if it comes out at some point that it was some kind of right-wing conspiracy, I think that it was probably a pretty good policy decision, probably a pretty good idea for them, not necessarily because it's ever good for somebody to die, just like objectively, but because if you're the right wing, you are in the catbird seat now, because everybody thinks the left is horrible and violent and killed Charlie Kirk. So if you guys are actually the ones who killed him, you guys just put yourself in an amazing fucking position. Now, we don't know for a fact what happened yet. It seems most likely, in fact, that it was a left-wing shooter, but isn't that a little convenient? Isn't that awfully convenient? I mean, his parents were right-wing, his family was right-wing, his entire community was right-wing, he was raised Mormon. So doesn't it seem just a little bit convenient that he had pro-trans messaging on his on some of his shell casings? And really, it's arguable to me whether it was even pro-trans, because the meme he was referencing, I mean, I guess it got co-opted by trans people at a certain point, but it originated in anti-trans 4chan circles. He was dating a furry? Nick Fuentes is a fucking furry, my friend. The Groiper King himself, Nick Fuentes, is a fucking furry. He was dating a trans furry? Oh yeah, because the deep South, the deep Republican South doesn't consume plenty of trans porn. Whoever he was dating has nothing to say about what his politics personally may have been. And even if he did, like, here's the beautiful thing about it too. Even if he actually did kill, kill Charlie Kirk out of some like left-wing kind of ideological inspiration personally, we know what other forces acted on him to do this. We don't know. We just don't know. It has come out. Okay, for example, if you look at the dude who killed, I believe his name was James Earl Ray, the dude who killed MLK Jr., it has come out that there were elements of the FBI that were close to James Earl Ray. that there's a good chance that he was basically set up as a patsy, that he was not that he didn't kill him, but that he was instructed more or less to kill him, that he was helped in the process of killing him, egged along by people who wanted to see a particular political outcome. Now, I think it backfired on them, but who's to say that a similar strategy hasn't been employed here? Who's to say that Trump didn't order his FBI secretly, covertly? Who's to say he didn't order Kash Patel and his FBI apparatus and the CIA to start looking for left-wing radicals that are a little bit kooky, a little bit fucked up in the head, and try and seed this idea in their head, try and get them to really plan out some kind of massive attack on a right-wing figure, because it's just too perfect. So we'll know more as the court case goes, as the case proceeds through the courts, as the defense is able to dig up information, as the prosecution is able to dig up information. We will find more about this. I doubt very seriously that the prosecutor, the defense attorney, and everybody else is in on it. So hopefully the process of discovery will tell us whether or not I'm right or wrong. So done with this regime? Me too. Me too. Literally holding food stamps over the head of average Americans just to get a political win. I can't imagine a more monstrous act besides literal genocide. Elon the Klingon is going to get too big for his britches, and Trump's going to end him too. Oh, dude, he's already getting there. He's already getting close. Elon is already flying too close to the sun. Because Elon has argued with the Trump administration openly. He's at this point started trying to kind of fund opposition against the Trump movement. Trust me, Elon's on the chopping block. I mean, he basically has already been chopped. If you think about it, Trump has already cut off any kind of like personal association with them. That shit lasted long enough for Elon and his crazy motherfucking ass to cut a bunch of social programs and to cut a bunch of government spending. And then Trump was done with that motherfucker. Trump was done with that. Elon Musk, a quote from Paul Segal, and I keep bringing it up because it's so perfect. Elon Musk thought he was buying himself a dog collar for Trump whenever he paid for $180 million towards his campaign. What he was actually buying was a leash for himself. Isn't it Democrats in Senate not passing the bill for the government to start backing up? No, it's Republicans that are refusing to come over on Democratic demands. It is a completely normal part. It is a completely normal part of politics to withhold your vote until the legislation matches something closer to a compromise you're willing to accept. This is the nature of politics. This is how work is done. We argue, we debate, we come to some kind of conclusion, and eventually that conclusion is what gets voted on. It is completely normal for senators from both parties, by the way, to withhold their vote on legislation to effectively filibuster, to threaten to filibuster until certain needs are met or until certain demands are met. This has been used by the Republican Party. It's been used by the Democratic Party. And the Republicans are trying to paint it like it's all in the Democrats' fault, because the Republicans would like to have the American people believe that whatever the Republicans want is what's best for America, and that there should be no debate, that there should be no conversation, and that they don't need to come over a little bit, that the Democrats just need to come over on everything that the Republicans want. When in reality, the main reason people keep getting pissed off at the Democrats is because they go with the Republicans too much. There are a giant chunk of Americans who oppose Republican policy, but many of them disenfranchised from voting and from active political participation because they see the conservative nature of the party that's supposed to represent them. So you know what I say? God bless the Democrats right now, because at least they're finally growing a spine. At least they are finally putting their money where their mouth is. At least they are finally standing up for something. I've been waiting for it for years. May I ask a question? Of course, Dalton. That's what we're here to do. We're here to answer questions. By the way, if you would like to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered, anybody in the chat, consider sending a super chat or a Cash App donation. You can find my Cash App in my channel description. Either way helps immensely. If you use the Cash App, it's a little better on me because I get more of it, and I can use it instantly. But it is a great way to make sure your comment or question gets read, and it's a great way to financially support the channel if you like what we're doing here. Hit the gym, kiddo. I've been losing weight consistently over the last year. I worry that this grandstand by Dems is just them listening to their donors still. Their financial caretakers allow this pushback. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Blacklark, honestly. Or was that Blacklark? Yeah, that was. That's a good point, Blacklark, and it may well be. I mean, some of their donors, you have to remember that the Democratic and Republican Party do attract a couple of different donors. There is some variation in their funding. Like a lot of the companies that donate to the Republicans also donate to the Democrats, but there are a few donors out there that are specific in the candidates that they donate to. For example, the Koch brothers will usually not donate to a Democratic candidate. George Soros will usually not donate to a Republican candidate. Just a couple of examples. Warren Buffett, I think, tends to donate to Democratic candidates more heavily than Republican candidates. Whereas, Peter Thiel tends to donate to Republican candidates. But any of any of these political movements, you can look at certain funders that they have that the other party doesn't have, and vice versa for the other party. Bloomberg is pretty lib, exactly. Bill Gates, for example, pretty lib as well. There are lots of billionaires who, honestly, here's the thing, and maybe this is like a stupid take. Maybe we can argue about it, Blacklark, but I think that there are some billionaires out there who are willing to not be billionaires anymore, as long as they know for a fact that the money is being spent in the appropriate way. As long as they know for a fact that the money is being used to restructure housing and healthcare in America. As long as they know for a fact that the money is being used to actually help regular working class people. Because there are certain people that we're talking about that actually do run companies that are paying their people well and that are generally appreciated by the communities that they operate in. So the idea that the idea that there are no billionaires out there who would act ethically given a system that allowed them to, I don't know. I think it's a little silly. I just think that they're a minority. I think that the vast majority of billionaires want to keep their wealth and grow it forever. And, money talks in this country. So if there's more money behind the status quo people, then that's what's going to proceed forward. It doesn't matter if there's, 10 or 12 billionaires out of 100 on the planet that are pretty left wing and want to see the tax system restructured, want to see infrastructure spending upped and everything else. But my sincere hope is that, like, a lot of those billionaires that we're talking about that are more conservative, a lot of them are really old. So my sincere hope is that as they start to die off, we're talking about the Rupert Murdochs of the world. We're talking about the, what's his name? I have a real hard time thinking of some of these old billionaires because some of them I know have already died. But you get the picture. These old dudes who have been billionaires for fucking ever, who have been growing their wealth. Well, Warren Buffett's one of them, honestly. Even he donates more often to Democratic candidates, but I don't think he's nearly as progressive as a dude like Bill Gates is, for example. I just think it's interesting, right? We are facing an age now of transition, an age of chaos that is marked by constant strife and a war between these two ideological sides. Who's going to win out? Who knows? But there's a very healthy competition going on right now. I think the progressive side is eventually going to win out because as the generations go on, we seem to be getting more progressive. And I think that that's a good thing because I think the virtue of progressivism is borne out by its fruits. America's fall will be beautiful. America's fall so far has been pretty beautiful. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. I'll show you guys I'll show you guys a little beauty. Look at this. America's fall is beautiful. Look at that. Look at America's fall. Vast majority of EBT users are wait, what? Huh? Okay, some bullshit just got said in chat, and I have to refute it directly. Vast majority of EBT users are unemployed immigrants. That's just objectively untrue. 60% of people on SNAP are employed. 60% of people on SNAP are employed. 60% of people on SNAP are employed. That is based on the statistics from the department itself. That is based on their own reporting. 60% of people on SNAP are employed. 60% of people on SNAP are employed. 60% of people on SNAP are employed. Billionaires pay the lion's share of taxes. Just another bullshit statement. Objectively false. Just go look at the IRS's own reporting. Rich people don't pay taxes. They pay accountants. Sorry, I've heard too many rich people tell me otherwise. Corporations depend on SNAP to feed their employees for them. Yep, Walmart famously actually gives their employees guidance on how to get SNAP, and is known for keeping their employees working just low enough, working for just little enough that they qualify. Isn't that beautiful? Wonder what Walmart's going to do during this government shutdown, because the courts recently authorized the usage of emergency funds. The USDA was made, in my opinion, by the Trump administration to come out and say, no, we can't use those contingency funds. I think it was just a political move by the president to try and get his legislation passed without compromising. But a court just ruled, nope, you guys have to use those contingency funds. They're there. That's what they're there for. Use them. And so it's not going to be enough to cover the cost of the program for the whole month, because it's a multi-billion-dollar program. It's a multi-billion-dollar farm subsidy that Trump is trying to threaten all of America with. He's literally trying to hold it over the heads of all Americans to get his political opponents to come over on some legislation. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. I haven't pimped much this stream because I keep forgetting about it, but it really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, it's going to have the chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increase the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people who can engage in the chat. So please do so now if you haven't done so already. I deeply appreciate it. And consider sending a super chat if you haven't, if you want to make sure that your comment or question gets read or answered. That is a great way to do it. Nobody's going to check the stream and know you're not forgetting about it. And what now? I pay taxes on my offshore tax haven accounts. Nice. Well, of course. You're an ethical billionaire, Perseus. Yeah. Perseus is a rich Thai heiress. You know who I trust when it comes to what billionaires do and don't do? Perseus. You know why? Because I know for a fact that Perseus is a rich person. Well, not even, like, they're not necessarily a rich person yet, but they come from a very, very, very rich family. And so when Perseus tells me how the billionaires are doing things, I know they're telling me the God's honest truth, because it's coming right from the horse's mouth. I stand strong with the Democrats. I don't normally stand strong with the Democrats, but I do too right now, because right now they are actually trying to force some legislation. They're trying to do what the squad promised they were going to do way back when. They're trying to do what the squad promised they were going to do way back when. What the squad could have done way back when. Now the whole Democratic Party is doing it because they finally see the writing on the wall. We stand now or we stand never. We stand now or we stand never. I want the best for you is all. Skip a few meals. It'll do some good for you. Man, you are so worried about my fatness. I've been losing weight consistently over the last year. I do not need your help. Trust me. Whatever I'm doing, it's working. Why didn't they do it when Biden was in office? Because they're pussies. Because they're pussies. Because it takes the fascist takeover of America to get Democrats off their ass. That's why. Good for you. Keep losing weight. That's the thing. I don't need anybody's else. No, I don't need anybody else's help with it. I know what my problems are. I'm addressing them directly. This is the only sweet drink I'll have today. For the rest of the day, I'll be drinking this, which says it's always saved distilled water, but it's actually spring water from a spring in Mississippi. We just reuse jugs every time we get a jug of water or something while we're out in travels. If it's a water jug or a milk jug, we reuse it for water. But yeah, sometimes you'll see me drinking out of a jug. It'll say like sweet tea on it, or it'll say fucking whole milk on it or something. But this one is just water, and all of them are just water. Obviously, you can tell just by the fact that the liquid's clear. But point is, I have been drinking way more water than sugary drinks over the last year, which was my biggest problem for the longest time. The way I got fat was not necessarily eating a whole bunch of candy and a whole bunch of fast food. By the time I started eating a whole bunch of fast food, like in my early 20s, I was already fat as a motherfucker. So what my problem was eating too much of what are otherwise perfectly healthy foods. You know, like pretty much anything homemade is going to be healthy in moderation, right? So like your really tasty homemade mashed potatoes with a whole stick of butter in them. There's like 3 or 4 potatoes and a whole stick of butter, and it's all mashed together. There's a little bit of milk in there, and maybe you boiled the potatoes and some beef bouillon. That is wonderful and delicious, but you should have a small serving of that, right? My problem for the longest time was that I would just get as much as I could justify with however many other people were eating, and I would get the same amount of whatever else was on the table. Overeating, eating my feelings, basically, was my problem for the longest time. But I was eating food that was not, like, relatively healthy in the right proportions. And so the main things I have done is I've reduced my intake of sugary, calorically high, like calorically dense drinks, and switched to mostly water. And I have started eating reasonable portions and eating less often throughout the day. Someone get Steven out of here. I'm tired of reading the spam concern troll message. Dem equal delusional. I'm not a Democrat. I normally oppose the Democrats pretty hard, but when they're doing something like what they're doing right now, which is actually standing up for the American people and their right to have their health care, like at least partially fucking subsidized. In my opinion, healthcare should just be a right in general. It should be subsidized through common effort, through taxes, and it should not be a thing that anybody worries about when it comes to their pocketbook or their insurance premiums or anything else. But our system right now says that the government is supposed to fund a little bit of people's healthcare every year. Trump is threatening to take that away. He is refusing to extend those subsidies. The Democrats want to extend those subsidies. There are also other aspects of the bill that don't fucking quite suit the vast majority of Americans. And for once in their fucking party's life, the Democrats are actually standing up for what Americans want. Because what Americans want is not Trump policy. If you actually look at the policies the vast majority of Americans support, the vast majority of Americans support single-payer health care. Trumpism is not a step towards single-payer health care. The vast majority of Americans support infrastructure renewal. Trumpism is not a step towards infrastructure renewal. He is completely refusing to compromise on his budget demands, and that is why the Democrats are standing up against him. And it's about time, because it's almost a year into his presidency, and they have yet to meaningfully stand against any of the bullshit he's done. Because you know why? A lot of them are just as fucking Republican as he is. And the only place they meaningfully differ at this point is a little bit in economic policy. And that's just a little tiny bit. Little tiny bit in economic policy, and they differ pretty widely in their rhetoric around social policy, but they don't actually differ in their policy around social policy, because you notice that Democrats don't actually do anything to protect trans people on a national level, but they sure do use us in their rhetoric, don't they? Trump sucks, Biden sucks, Obama sucks, they're all corrupt. Yeah, like that's the thing. I have no problem saying that. Biden was a corrupt motherfucker, not only that, but he was probably demented when he got into office, probably cancer-addled when he got into office. We were lied to as the American people about that. Obama promised a whole lot of really wonderful things, and then when he got into office, he delivered on functionally none of it. A lot of what he did deliver on were half measures that didn't actually address the problems that were set out before him. So Biden got the Ukraine money. Yep. If you want to know what the Democrats have been doing to this country for years, read the book Dark Agenda, and it will tell you. Oh, read this propaganda book from the Republicans, and it'll tell you all about how the Democrats are evil. You realize that's a propaganda book? And that's not even me saying that, like, there's not left-wing propaganda books. Obviously there are. But you realize that's like a right-wing propaganda book, right? Play a campaign speech right now and tell me what he didn't do? Obama? We're going to shut down Guantanamo Bay. Day one. Day one, we're going to see that place shut down and that site demolished. No more extrajudicial killings. No more extraordinary rendition. I don't need to play the campaign speech if I can remember it. We're going to introduce a single-payer healthcare system in this country. We're going to bring America into the 21st century when it comes to our healthcare needs. They have the people and the proof. You must have not read it. Unreadable. Must have. And it would be must not have Reddit, by the way. Man, I hate having to I hate having to translate people's broken English back into something legible and readable. Fucking crazy. I agree. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Every single time you hit that like button, it's another chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your video. Push it by increasing the number of people who can engage in chat. Also, consider sending a super chat or a Cash App donation if you want to financially support the channel and our mission of having real conversations about legitimate issues and current events in coarse language and, with real personalities. You feel like the Spartans at Thermopylae? It's not broken English, it's just that nobody cares about spelling here. Why would I hit the like button even if I agreed with what you were saying? You're bland and boring. Okay, then don't hit it. I don't care. Why are you debating? Why are you deleting comments? I'm not deleting shit. See? I ain't deleting shit. But let's ease up on the bans for a second, Perseus. Let's see what they say if they're let off the chain. I'm just curious. What's coming out of them? The mods are always trash on the YouTube. Yeah. Is this a bait? No. I'm just trying. I'm literally just trying to have conversations with people. The judge trying to force Trump to fund Snap will get overturned. If you say so. I personally don't think there's any judge in this country that isn't a Trump appointee that's in his pocket that's going to overturn that, given that they recognize the threat that the ending of Snap funding actually brings. Okay, well, okay. Here's what I'll do for you then, Perseus. Here's what I'll do. We'll make chat a little bit more readable for you and me and everybody else. So we'll set any subscriber time, participant mode, and we'll set a 20-second slow mode. Does that work? Okay. Hitting the dislike button is also engagement. True. Yeah, hit that dislike button if you want to. You know what I like about boba tea? It satisfies that ancient human instinct to suck up tadpoles from a pond through a reed. I wonder if a tadpole is this yummy. I should take my boba straw out to a pond. I should see. I just gotta pick a clean pond. Definitely can't do it in Jersey, that's for sure. But maybe when I get back down to the south. Suck up some. Oh, I can't do it. Can't do it now because it's too late. Too late in the year. I'll have to try it next spring. What flavor is your boba? This is taro. This is a taro boba. I am addicted to taro boba. This place doesn't do it as good as some places I've had it. I've had some taro bobas that are really fucking good and that have a really delicious flavor to them. This one doesn't have as much of the taro flavor as I'm used to, but it's still pretty good. It's still all right. I like it. It's all right. The boba are really good, so there's that. The boba are really good. Tadpoles, lol, yeah. Where'd you get your shirt? It's so cute. This was actually, I think I got this at a Goodwill. This was either given to me at a nursing home that I used to work at, or this was a Goodwill find. Always check your local Goodwill if you're looking for a cute fit, because they will probably have something in your size and that looks really pretty. I can't with boba texturally. See, the texture about it is what draws me into it. I like it. It's they're chewy. I love it. Taro is so good. Wish it was easier to get in the US. Taro pie is the best shit. I really do too. Dude, I tell you what, I have been thinking for a long time, I need to try growing taro. Me and my family need to try growing taro because I think it would grow in our climate. Now, maybe I would have to get a more hardy variety, But I think if started inside, and planted in the right spot and watered the right amount, I think it would do perfect in Mississippi's climate. I just want to find ways to turn our little 2 acres into something a little bit more profitable. But there's almost no way to turn 2 acres into profit these days. I need to start watching some of those YouTube channels that have mastered the art of that, though, because there's a couple of people on YouTube who have like either urban or suburban kind of like little small town, little farm areas where they've got like 2 or 3 acres that they've got access to, and they have turned it all. They've put it all under cultivation and raised beds and shit like that and livestock, and they figured out how to maximize every fucking square inch of it. And some of those people are making quite a bit just off the produce that they sell and off of the canned goods that they produce and things like that. And I really think that I feel like finding some rare to find veggies in the U.S. and growing those might be a unique way to kind of introduce some profitability to the farm. Today's chat is finally awesome. Well, I had to turn on idiot mode to get it here, so yeah. Make sure you guys share the stream, by the way. Please feel free to share the stream. It really does, like, that helps immensely. YouTube really cares about that for some reason. So share the stream, hit that like button, and consider setting a super chat if you've got a little bit of money burning a hole in your pocket and you want to support the channel. It's a really great way to get your question read or answered, or your comment read. So yeah. Huh? Oh, that's somebody in the hall. What is your purpose? I bring the butter. Americans should really grow more of their own food. I'm so envious of the growing season you have. Trying to keep certain plants alive here is next to impossible. Where are you at, Krista? If you don't mind me asking. I live in a very Asian neighborhood and everyone grows their own veggies. That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. That is really fucking good. That is a really important part. It's part of a thing that I talk about here sometimes called food sovereignty, right? The idea that people should have control over their own food supplies. A big part of the reason why grocery stores closing down is such a big scare in America is because nobody grows their own food anymore. It used to be way more common to do so, and in certain cultures it still is. And Asian cultures is a great example. It's still pretty common to grow your own food in a lot of Asian cultures. Maybe not all of it, but a good chunk of it, where you can, when you can, and it's kind of getting a resurgence here in America, but America's gone through different periods of time where it was more common. Like, for example, back during World War II and even during World War I, victory gardens were encouraged here in the United States. And the idea was, do you have a little suburban backyard or something? Put that whole thing under cultivation. Literally, grow your own tomatoes, grow your own cucumbers. Here's like one of the reasons why the USDA was formed. Well, not one of the reasons why, I guess, but one of the things that the USDA did pretty quickly after being formed, and government institutions like it, was to create lists of what grows in which climate, like different hardiness zones and everything. The USDA hardiness zones came out of that era, and home gardening was a really big thing in America for like 40 years after that, because people saw how easy it was to not only saw how easy it was to keep a garden, but a lot of people saw how useful it was as well. Because if you have your own tomato garden, then you don't have to go to the store when you want a salad with some tomatoes in it, or if you want to cut up a tomato for some burgers or something, you ain't got to go to the store. And if you're also growing your own lettuce and you're growing your own you're growing your own squash, you're growing your own okra, then you've got some other sides to go along with it. You've got, like, let's say you're having burgers and you grow your own potatoes and you grow your own lettuce and you grow your own tomatoes. Well, the only thing you can't grow is the beef. So at that point, you're turning a meal that could have been, like $10, or no, it'd be like $20 in today's money, easily. If you're going to feed like 4 people burgers, it'd easily be a $20 meal today. You could turn it into a $10 meal. And back then I don't know exactly what it would translate to. That's why I'm not using 1940s money, because I don't know the exchange rate or whatever. I don't know the rate of inflation between now and then. I'm sure it's quite high. But it was a way to make things a lot cheaper. But not only was it a way to make things a lot cheaper, it was a way to reduce the strain on the food supply system in general. And it had the added effect of teaching people how that can be maintained over long term, and why it's so useful to maintain it over long term. Potatoes need tons of space, but they are very high yields. Yeah, they are very high yield, and I would argue they don't need as much space as you might think. Like, they need, like, you can plant them in rows and shit, and a lot of the space that they'll take up is underground. And the plants aren't that big, so yeah, they need whole raised beds to themselves, but they don't need, like, you know, tremendous amounts of space. Tomatoes are an easy starter to get used to gardening. Yes, they are a very easy starter to get used to gardening, especially vegetable gardening, because they'll teach you about a lot of different things. Tomatoes have a pretty unique process for preserving the seeds. If if I can get my dad on stream one of these days, I can have him tell you guys way more about it. But basically, you have to let them ferment, basically, in a little cup for 2 or 3 days, and once they've fermented enough, the little gel barrier around the seeds breaks down properly, and you swirl it around every day to make sure everything's breaking down properly. After it's done that for a few days, you put them into a sieve, run water over them, kind of rinse them out a little bit, and then they're fine. Dump them out onto a paper towel, and then whenever they dry out completely, they're ready, and they'll they'll keep for like 10 years, I think. I think that's what he told me. I think tomato seeds keep for 10 years. They need more space than a carrot plant, let's say, but they yield more. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They need more space than a carrot, but they yield a lot more than a carrot does. You know what's another plant that needs a lot more space than you would think, given the size of the container that you get if you buy one live at the store? Basil. Basil needs an insane amount of space, literally. If you allow it to grow in a raised bed or something like that, and if you allow it to get as big as it wants to, that thing will get that big around. It'll become a bush. Like, basil can literally become a fucking bush if you let it. I love plants so much. Basil is good to keep under your tomatoes, so it'll keep pests away. What? I didn't know they made good companion plants. Is that true? I shall consider tomato. I had a window basil once that did very well at one point. I know some distant relatives grow their own food, but I never had the time or chance to. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, there are certain plants that really don't require that much time. As long as you've got like 15 minutes every other day to tend to them, they'll be fine. Tomatoes, one of them. It's a great one. And two, there's and I didn't know this until my mom and dad got back together and I moved back to the family farm. But there are, and QB, if you've got, like, how much growing space do you have, QB? Just out of curiosity. Because that'll tell me a little bit about what to recommend. Because, dude, even if all you have is an apartment and you're planning on being there for a year or more, there are all kinds of things you can grow with all you having access to being an apartment. As long as you've got one window in your house that faces out towards the sun. But that will cut into my stock watching time. I love them stocks. Yeah. Well, I forget you don't have a soul, so yeah, fair enough. I used to grow my own herbs. That's dope. Dude, growing your own herbs is great. There is no fresher an herb you can get than one you grew yourself. And the fresher your herbs are at a lot of recipes, the better your result will be. Mostly basil and chives. Nice. I will tell you this much, Autumn. Growing thyme in in an apartment or on a porch or something like that is very, very easy. It loves those conditions. It can grow pretty big if you continuously repot it and fertilize it and stuff. And all throughout the growing season, new shoots will grow from the cuts that you make from it. So I always just harvest it down to the head and just leave a little bit of leaf activity going because it will just regrow from that. Just cut it, leave it for a few hours, then water it, fertilize it. and then leave it for another week, and you'll have all kinds of new growth coming out of those shoots that you cut. Growing a grapefruit tree that I got by accident. Nice. That's cool. You must be somewhere in the you must be somewhere in the tropics or something growing a grapefruit tree, because those are that's a citrus fruit. For the record, I do have a soul. It's just on a 7-way timeshare between Satan and my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, well, valid. California? Okay, well, fair enough. It's not the tropics, but it's one of the only places outside of the tropics that you can grow citrus. My dad can't eat them because it makes his heart medicine kill him. What? Huh? What is that a function of? I have like 1,000 houseplants. It's a problem sometimes. Nice, Post. See, Post has too much of a soul. How do you grow grapefruit? I want to do that. I love Post, dude. 2 different kinds of people. Perseus is like, yeah, I don't really have the time to do plants. That would get in the way of my stock watching. Post is like, how do you grow this incredibly difficult citrus fruit? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's easy in the right climate. I know in my climate, I would have to use a greenhouse around citrus fruit. Me and my family have talked about it before, and if we wanted to grow citrus, we would have to get dwarf trees, number 1, and number 2, we would have to build a hoop house to put them in. Actually, it sounded awfully close. I guess it was, though. Oh my god. It was an accident. A nurse at my work gave me one from her tree, and when I opened it, the seeds had already sprouted. That is wild. I didn't know that could happen. My boobs are finally growing in, kind of. Now it's just a matter of losing weight. Nice, Perseus. Good job. I don't want to grow mushrooms, right? Or not going to lie, I like portobello mushrooms, not like shrooms. I do too. We've got a pretty good climate for mushrooms as well. We've also got a really good spot on the property that would be perfect for mushrooms, because there's a spot on our property that just never really gets properly dry, and it's a tree line, so it's always got shade on it. It would be a perfect place for be a perfect place for mushroom growing. My fucking my chat right now is full of trans girls. That's awesome. I love you guys. Y'all are great. Who says the queer community isn't supportive of each other? You're a cup? Yeah. I'm a cup as well. Oh, you're a cup. I thought you meant you're a cup. I thought you meant you're a cup, like a drinking vessel. What the fuck is this? What the fuck are you, Fred? What the fuck are you? Aw, man. Nah, unhide Fred. He needs to answer for his crimes. I want to know. Unhide him. No SNAP benefits. Get off your ass and work. I do work, motherfucker. I am not on SNAP. When I advocate for SNAP to be funded, it's not because my life personally relies on it, but all of our lives rely on SNAP functioning because the agricultural industry is partly propped up by fucking SNAP. And billionaires don't take losses. Billionaires don't take losses, so they're not just going to take 42 million families being out of the fucking program and unable to buy food, or at least unable to spend that money on food. They're not going to take that and just be like, well, guess we're just losing out on that market now. And people aren't just going to automatically be able to buy more food because you're talking about a population of people that has been reliant on this money. And they're not going to fucking lower prices. They're not going to lower prices because that's going to affect their stockholders. So what are they going to do? They're going to raise prices on those of us who can still buy food because we're not buying food on food stamps. We're buying food, on work generated income or whatever. It's going to hit the rest of us pretty fucking hard too. Don't act like you don't have any fucking, you have just as much a stake in fucking SNAP as a person on SNAP does. Well, maybe not just as much, but you have a stake in SNAP functioning just like a person on SNAP does, right? Not to the same degree, but your life is contingent on that system functioning. Has been for years, dude. SNAP is a farm subsidy. It helps to keep America's agricultural industry afloat. You realize that there's plenty of things that are made in China, right? I get that. Your cell phone? Probably made in China. This little electronic thing that I've got my phone sitting in, this gimbal, it's made in China. This Keurig sitting behind me in the hotel, or in front of me rather, definitely made in China. It's not made in China? The food you eat. The vast majority of the food you eat is produced right here in the good old US of A. Do we import some food items? Sure, but the vast majority of it we produce here with shit that we grow here. Obviously, that's excluding some stuff that we have to get from export, but there are even some things that we get from imports that are made partly with American materials. So we export raw materials of all kinds all over the world because we produce more than we need. And then some of the stuff that we import because we can't get certain ingredients in it or they don't grow naturally anywhere in the US or whatever, we end up importing those things back, and half the shit in it is American that is just returned through the logistical chain. So America is a fucking agricultural powerhouse, but we don't naturally, our billionaires are not attuned to taking losses. So they're not going to take billions of dollars because I think that the SNAP program takes like $8 billion a month to run. That's $8 billion a month of money that goes to the grocery stores and then therefore to America's agricultural producers. That's just not going to be there anymore. That's billions of dollars that are just gone. I'm telling you, billionaires are not going to take that on the chin. I worked in retail with coworkers with kids and spouses that had to get SNAP because Walmart would only pay slightly above minimum wage. And you're not the only one, James. I worked with plenty of people like that as well. There are all kinds of people who work their fucking asses off and are still reliant on SNAP. 60% of people on SNAP work. 60% of people on SNAP work. 60% of people on SNAP work. I don't know how many times I have to remind people of this. I don't know how much I have to drill it into a motherfucker's head. I get another job, duh. What if you're already working 2 jobs? What if you're already working 2 jobs? You still can't pay the rent. You still can't pay your food bill. You still can't pay all of your bills quite on time, or you still can't pay them quite enough. You still can't. Maybe you can pay your bills, but you can't pay down your debt. What about people like that? You're just supposed to let them starve? Yeah, they do work. They're doing the bare minimum, working part time at McDonald's. You think that, okay, so there's 42 million people. There's 42 million people on Snap. Okay, half, which is less than 60% of 42 million, is 21. So 21 million people are working part-time at McDonald's. Can somebody see what, can somebody look it up real quick? What is McDonald's total workforce? What is McDonald's total workforce? Just somebody look it up real quick. In the United States, what is McDonald's total U.S. workforce total? I worked 40 hours a week at Taco Bell for a bit and was making about $1,000 a month. Yeah, I did that same shit. Now, normally at Taco Bell, I would average more around 32 hours, but there were months where I would work, slightly more than 40 hours a week. I still ended up making around $1,000 a month, literally $12,000 a year working 40 hours a week. About 150,000. 150,000. Okay, 150,000 people. So that person's claim that the 60% of people who are on Snap and work are all just working part time at McDonald's is so fucking false that it's literally silly. So fucking false that it's literally silly. McDonald's total US workforce totals 150K, not even a million, not even a fifth of a million, not even a fifth of a million people work at McDonald's. And you're going to sit here and tell me that the over 21 million people who are on Snap and all work part-time at McDonald's? Name another corporation you think they all work part-time at. I guarantee you, any corporation you name to me is going to have a fucking workforce around the same amount of people. I know you think that the millions of people in America must mean that there are millions of people working for all these businesses you see everywhere, but each of those businesses you see everywhere is being ran by like 4 people at any given fucking time. At any given time, any one of these stores you see might have 20 people on their payroll. It ain't that many fucking people working for corporate fucking jobs, and certainly not the kind of corporate jobs you see every day when you're going to your fucking McDonald's trip. By the way, nice going telling me that you fucking start your day every day going to get a McMuffin, or you end your day going to get a double cheeseburger. What a disgusting piece of shit. Stop eating McDonald's, you fucking fat piece of shit. I cut that shit out. Can't find a job in this town? Yeah, not unless you want to work 40 hours a week. I mean, like, I'm fine working 40 hours a week, whether it's doing this or whatever. I mean, I wish I had time to do this 40 hours a week, but like, my thing is people should be amply rewarded for that. Why don't you talk about fun, lighthearted stuff every now and again? Because honestly, people don't ask me about it very often. I kind of get, I'll be honest with you, Soda Drinking Cup or Soda Drinking Pro, I get fucking bored as hell sometimes talking about the endless political dribble. Like, I put it in my title because I think it is interesting content, but a lot of times it's not even the stuff in the title that people really want to talk about. Now, this time we are actually having what I consider to be a pretty interesting conversation about Snap and the effects that it going away is going to have on the overall economy, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's a utility to it for sure. But I will be honest with you, the main reason, like the main driver of what the conversation is here is what people ask me about. So if you ask me about my favorite movies or whatever, we'll talk about movies. If you ask me about, a certain movie that I've seen or something like that or whatever, we'll talk about that. I don't care what we talk about really. I put stuff in the title to give us a conversational basis, but I don't, like, I don't know. I'm not like the most like happy-go-lucky person ever, you might have noticed. And so a lot of times, like, not only that, but even when I am feeling happy-go-lucky, a lot of times, like, the thing on everybody's mind and the thing that really tickles the algo right now is a lot of times just political content. And so I've been doing a lot of that, a shit ton of that. Listen, and it is, don't rely on the government for your lifestyle. I don't rely on the government for my lifestyle, Harry. Nobody does. 60% of Americans who fucking rely, I'm sorry, not 60% of Americans, but the 60% of Americans who are on Snap who work, you know, I think I still said that wrong. You know what I'm trying to say though. There 60% of people who are on Snap work, okay? And those people are not relying on the government to fund their lifestyle. They're relying on the government to fucking fund their survival. They're relying on the government. They're relying on input from all of us taxpayers who are not reliant on some form of government assistance to pay for their survival because the corporations that they work for don't want it. And the people that they rent from don't care. So nobody's lowering the rents and nobody's raising the wages. More than you think live off the government. 60% of people on Snap work, Harry. That's just, like, what? Do you not trust the government's reporting? It's fucking Trump's administration. Like, he didn't invent it, but it's his people running it. And according to them, 60% of people on Snap work. Those who work and live off Snap don't report all the income. Huh? What is that based on? Where are you getting that? Okay, what is your line of work then? And do you have any studies to back this up? Because if not, it might just be a problem of your area, bruh. Really. It might just be a problem of your area. My wife worked at. Don't just call me naive. You back up your statements here. That's one of the only things I ask of people, Harry. All I ask of people is that if you're going to argue with me, back up the shit you have to say, please. Ooh, some kind of crash. Yeah, I think Harry's just a cynic. I think Harry is legitimately just a cynic and doesn't believe that people can do good because he personally hasn't seen people do good. I can't even tell what happened over there. It's hard for me to even tell what's going on. Let's see if the zoom function on the camera lends any fucking clarity to the matter. There's some kind of somebody stuck up over there. Oh, I don't know. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Friday traffic, yeah. I'm glad I don't gotta be out on that shit. My friend Glitch Dash is literally door dashing and Uber driving in that shit. I can't believe it. Walmart has over 1.6 million workers, and the majority made under minimum wage for a long time. Two, they get paid money, but not enough. Oh, yeah, dude. Well, Walmart's got all kinds of crazy fucking shit that they do with pay and with their employees to abuse the fuck out of them. So I've worked at Walmart 3 different times, and I guess talking about this is going to blacklist me from ever working with them again, but whatever. I don't care to be a whistleblower against Walmart. I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. So I worked at Walmart a number of different times, and the chief thing that they do to effectively pay their employees less than they're worth is, and I know this is going to sound weird, but it's the employee discount program. Because what the employee discount program does is most of the things that employees buy with the employee discount program are already sold at a huge markup. Not all of them, but like for example, a lot of the grocery items at Walmart are not sold at that big a markup. A lot of them are, but there's quite a few of them that aren't. Some of them are loss leaders and shit, but um, the point is that employee discount program encourages Walmart employees to spend the vast majority of their income back at Walmart. And this is one of the chief ways that they exploit their workforce is by encouraging them basically to rely effectively on their Walmart job by creating an economic incentive for them to just purchase from Walmart. There's other ways as well. So like sorry, I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck is going on out there on the highway. I assume this person lives off the government and just looks for ways to justify how it's a good thing, can't hold a job, point proven. Well, your assumption is wrong, Harry. Every bit of money I make off of YouTube, friend. And I find your self-righteous assumption pretty fucking pretentious. Anyway, point is, Walmart will avoid scheduling you for a, what the fuck? That was weird. Anyway, Walmart will avoid scheduling someone for 40 hours or more, making their schedule effectively just around 38 hours and encouraging them to go home early on some days if they have to keep them from ever actually achieving full-time status. Even if they do allow you to achieve full-time status, they are never going to pay you overtime. They are more likely to make you go 10 minutes early than they are to let you get into overtime period. So even if there's extra need, they would rather hire people part-time and fuck them over on their ability to make money than they would pay their already full-time workers that have been there for a while a little bit extra just to do the work that needs doing for a couple of hours each day. Exactly what happened at our store. They would make you take extended lunch breaks. Yep. They do not want you getting overtime. They do not want you getting 40 hours a week, because if you get 40 hours a week, well, you're entitled to benefits. So if you're consistently getting 40 hours a week, now they got to start offering you the full-time benefits package. And they don't want to do that because that costs Walmart extra money. And so they shirk people who are effectively working full-time, who are working so much at their store that it's hard for them to find another full-time job. But you're paying them so little they can't really afford to live without some kind of assistance, and you're not giving them enough hours to entitle them to the benefits that would maybe make their life a little bit more affordable. It's because these companies are not driven by anything other than profit. That's why you need government programs like SNAP if you're going to allow these companies to just be completely off the chain the way we do in America. We regulate companies so little. We allow them to do pretty much fucking whatever they want. We set the minimum wage so low in this country, and we don't have hardly as much union representation as the next 5 European countries combined. So what did I pop into? Well, I think right now we're just having a workers' rights kind of conversation. Was that also made it hard for customers to even get products that they needed or wanted to? Well, yeah, I mean, like, because what are you gonna do? Like, if they're purposefully understaffing the place because they don't want to pay the people who could be working there to get it fully staffed any overtime wages, or let them get close to 40 hours a week or anything like that, and obviously part-timers are more flaky, so what are you going to do? Like, they have no option but to be understaffed because they don't want to prioritize paying their workers and providing a good customer experience. They want to prioritize shareholder profits. The irony of it being that I think shareholder profits are protected better in a long-term sense by providing employees with a really good pay package and providing employees with a really good benefits package. Perfect fucking example, Caterpillar. I used to work at Caterpillar, and they were a really fucking good place to work. A really tremendously good place to work. Now I eventually stopped because I started making money on YouTube, and it made more sense to focus more of my time on that. Plus, it was something I could work from home and take care of our child in the daytime. And so, the way me and my partner figured it, it would eventually put us in a position to be making way more money. So I just started doing this instead, mainly. But it was a really tremendously good place to work. I think I was making like $16.50 or something. As just an entry level worker. A lot of people would see pay raises within their first 6 months. It was not uncommon for just a regular person that started working there at my level to be working there for 3 or 4 years and be making $20, $21, $22 an hour. Some of them would use CAT's benefit package to go to college and shit like that. And corporations like this, like, there's a reason why CAT is one of the most respected fucking builders of heavy moving equipment and having heavy hauling equipment and shit like that. And it's because they pay their workers so well that everybody that works there is like dedicated to putting out a quality product and is getting good amounts of sleep and is getting their fucking healthcare taken care of and shit like that. And so shareholder profits are protected in the long term. CAT just keeps on going up pretty much no matter what fucking happens to the world, because they're in the construction and rebuilding industry. There's always work for them. So as long as they keep paying their employees properly and keep managing the company well, it's just going to keep going up. Sure, it's not going to have these giant precipitous upticks where you're able to make magic happen suddenly by fucking over a bunch of your employees. But that's for the better, because the more you do that, the less stable your company is on the long term. There's a reason why CAT is still going to be selling diesel engines long after McDonald's has closed its last store. There's a reason why CAT is still going to be making and selling diesel engines long after Walmart has closed their last store. Only reason I got out of Walmart is because of their benefit for college. I don't blame you. Economic collapse alert. Oh no. Kyle Kalinske just uploaded a video saying something about an economic collapse alert. I don't know what that's about. The sky is falling, y'all. That's kind of how I feel about the news anymore, James. Do you feel the same way? That's kind of how I feel. I'm like, oh, yeah, another the sky is falling story? Yeah? Is it now? I think the sky's been falling. I just think the sky takes a while to fall. Indeed, I struggle to understand people's emotions and actions outside of a logical context. No, that's valid. That's totally fair. All I think about is how much I can gain. Yeah. Oh, man, Perseus, you spook me, man. You spook me. I hope when you get in control of your family's wealth, I hope your being an audience member of mine influences you to do good things with the money. Because when you say stuff like that, man, it scares the piss out of me. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Spoken like a Saudi oil prince, bro. You're spooky? Yeah, you're spooky. You're a rich Thai heiress talking about... Literally, let me just... Dude, you're not going to understand it, because once again, you don't have a soul. But let me just read this fucking comment off, and everybody else in the chat's going to get it. Indeed, I struggle to understand people's emotions and actions outside of a logical context. All I think about is how much I can gain. People in chat, sound off with a 1 if you understand why a rich Thai heiress saying that sort of thing could be a little bit spooky. Because I guess I do have to explain this. Shit. Okay. Um, because I always like to think that I'm wrong when I say that rich people all they really care about, because I don't think that mindset is exclusive to you, Perseus. I think that's the mindset of a lot of rich people. Um, I think that it is spooky because it kind of means that all other things being equal, you're going to prioritize your profit over other people's, you know, over people's goodwill, basically, over other people's good health, et cetera, et cetera. That's why I said I can only hope that you being an audience member of mine influences you to do better things with your money when you are eventually in control of your family's vast and immense fortune. Because, left to your own devices, I think you would probably do, like most rich people do, some pretty nightmarish stuff with that money. Which is, whatever. If you weren't doing it, somebody else would do it. I get all that. I get I get it. No ethical consumption under capitalism, all that jazz. But it's just like, as a working class person, I really don't have exposure to this kind of mindset except when you're in my chat. And that's when I remember, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That is how rich people think, isn't it? Doesn't everyone care about themselves to some degree? Of course, but I think altruism is a more I think altruism is a pretty heavy motivator for average people. I think for working class people, altruism is kind of taught as a value and something that you should try and do your best um, to have. I think I'm saying that correctly. This is where my dad will say, to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs. But personally, if you were so shit at making omelets you break eggs, you shouldn't be making omelets. Well, you have to you have to fucking break the egg, though. You have to crack the egg. You have to crack the egg and open its shell, and then you have to break the yolk and mix it all up together. But breaking eggs to some people is there no way to gauge when you've gone too far? My rationale is that as long as I have enough to be comfortable, I can use whatever remains for whatever altruistic purposes. Okay, well then that's fair enough. See, that's the thing. That's the thing, Perseus, and that's also, I will tell you, that is reassuring about you when it comes to my perceptions of you. And that's one of the things that makes you less spooky, is the fact that I know that you recognize that your best interest long term, even if you are a billionaire, your best term is not in fucking over the working class so much that they rise up against you. It's in having just enough to be comfortable and giving the rest to working class causes, to altruistic purposes, to things that improve the world. Because the better people feel, regardless of what their actual situation is, regardless of whatever logical arguments might be made against it, if people feel okay with the way things are, with the way things run, with the way things work, they're not gonna move to change it. A lot don't know when to stop. It seems to never be enough. Yeah. Well, there are some people for whom it's never enough. And there are some people who do not have the compunctions about long-term survivability or anything else that Perseus does. And I think Perseus also has the benefit of being very young. Perseus is younger than I am. I think they're 21. And Perseus is looking to inherit a fortune. They're not, they're not yet in control of it. And so I think, like there's a piece going around right now, something about the great wealth transfer. There's about to be $80 trillion passed from baby boomers and Gen Xers to their millennial and Gen Z kids over the next 10 years. Maybe a little bit longer, but over the next 20 years, there's going to be a huge wealth transfer. And that could, number one, it's going to place a lot more wealth in the hands of women than ever before. The only time there will have been a similar amount of wealth concentrated in the hands of women might be Native American society, maybe, or certain eras of Egyptian society, maybe. But it's going to be pretty insane because a lot of people that are said to inherit money are women, and women are also more intelligent investors than men are. They tend to gain more over the long term. They tend to be less risky. They tend to be more risk averse. But a lot of people, one of the things that has to be considered too is that during this great wealth transfer, It's going to be a lot of people with a lot of progressive ideas are about to inherit money. Because like the trend over the last 50 years has been that the younger generations are getting more and more progressive. So in the course of this great wealth transfer, we really could see some altruistic billionaires emerge out of that. No, I only do one-nighters as I'm incapable of most emotional expression. In fact, I feel pretty much nothing most of the time. Phoebe knows. Yeah, we've talked about it. It's one of the reasons that I find Perseus so fascinating is because I can't help but feel things all the time, you know? Whether that's misery or happiness or whatever it is, I'm a touchy-feely fuck. And Perseus is the exact opposite. They're pretty much a sociopath. They don't feel anything. When when Bill Gates finally goes, we will see a lot of good. Yeah, yeah. Are you saying that because well, I don't know though, dude. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has like done a lot of research into some pretty cool stuff. They've helped fund wells in Africa and shit like that. So I would say Bill Gates has already been doing some pretty altruistic shit with his money, but I'm sure when it gets passed to his family, who I'm sure are just as altruistic as he is, it'll probably do more good. I really hope we can leave the greed of the 80s behind. I hope you're right about young money inheritors. Well, that's what I'm hoping. I hope I'm right too, Black Clark, because that'll really be the difference between whether we start to see a different kind of system emerge or whether it just remains the same as it's ever been. Because, like you said, the greed of the 80s was insane. The willingness of people to abandon their once rigidly held moral principles in furtherance of a completely economic agenda. It's insane. So I really do hope that we get to see like a complete sea change in the way people think about money and the way people think about themselves and the way people think about their responsibilities to other people. What am I missing? Man, I don't know. He's got his money set to give away a long time. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Well, that's good. I'm going to own at least one yacht, putting that out there now. Well, can I at least get a ride, Perseus? Can me and my family get a vacation on it at least once? Cost free, please. If I'm gonna know a billionaire, I want some benefit out of it. If I'm gonna be a class trader by knowing a billionaire that I don't, you know, mm, basically I'm Judas and we're in negotiations right now, and you're the Romans. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding about the yacht ride. I do want to ride on your yacht, but I don't think I'm a class trader merely for knowing you. If I give half of it away, how am I going to build a statue out of myself in gold? Dude, just make it out of bronze and have it be gold plated. Fucking us plebs ain't gonna know the difference. Hell, we don't even know when we see real gold. You know how many people get fucking disappointed trying to sell fool's gold every year? Reason why it's called fool's gold. I want to own a yacht because I like partying on a yacht. Although last party, I got scolded by my dad for breaking a whiskey bottle. Dude, you're supposed to break at least one whiskey bottle, at least one booze bottle every time. There is a pit that cars are falling into or something. There is some kind of traffic slowdown happening again. Dude, if I just keep on watching this highway, there's a pretty good chance. Like how many cars there are out there, how often crashes are and everything, there's a pretty good chance that I'll see a crash at some point. He's a philanthropist. He said that all billionaires should give half of their wealth away because he has it set in stone that his money is going to good causes. Yeah, that's awesome. That is actually good. I love watching traffic from my office skyscraper as well. The flow of humanity. You probs won't see a crash. I want to though. I don't want to. Okay, I don't want to. I I'm a horrible person, y'all. I'm a really terrible person because I'm like, part of me wants to, but I don't want to see one that anybody gets hurt in. I want everybody to be fine, and I want everybody involved to have full coverage insurance, and I want them to all be found not at fault. Okay. But I want to see some derby shit going on out there. Not gonna lie. I want to see some demolition derby shit going on out there, and I'm not gonna. You just want to see a traffic jam that stays for a while? No. No. No, I'm just never in cities, so they're fascinating to me. That's all. I'm not sure what to do with the land I'm inheriting. 30 acres of flat rice field. Oh my god. Yeah, Perseus, I've got the perfect fucking plan for you. Okay? I got the perfect plan. You move me and my family out to Vietnam or wherever it is you're from. Thailand, right? Not Vietnam. Or was it right? Thailand? Right? I'm just thinking about Vietnam because I've got a fucking Vietnamese place cup sitting right here. But you move me and my family out to fucking to Thailand, right? And you have us work those rice fields. You pay some villager to teach us how to work rice, right? And you have us work it with only organic methods and everything, and then you sell your own super organic variety of rice at select American supermarkets and online. And then as it gets bigger, you purchase more rice field until eventually you've got like a $10 billion rice business. It'd be easier to lease it to a rice making company. Yeah, but it wouldn't fucking set me up for life with a fucking rice farm. So fuck it. No, I'm kidding. That is probably what you should do, actually. Lease it to a rice making company. That's what I would do if I was in your position. Actually, if I was in your position, I like to think I'm more of a socialist and more of an altruist. So I would like, I don't know, is there any like worker cooperatives in that area? I would try and find if there's some way that I could enter into some kind of like profit sharing deal with the locals. See if they can like tend to it and bring it to market. And, you know, I take like 30% of the profits. They divide the remaining 60% up by themselves, or 25% or whatever it is, 10%. I don't know anything about rice farming, so I would have to do some research. Laos is great. Thai money is multiplied by 10. Really? What? Thailand and Vietnam are cool. Cambodia is kind of crazy, and Laos is poor, but I'd love to visit any of them. Yeah, I'd love to visit anywhere that's not the U.S. I just want to get the fuck up out of this country. Not permanently, even. I want to go, man. I want to see places. I refuse. This is not where I will... I'm not going to die having never seen anything more exotic than California, man. I refuse. Everything is touched by corruption. Any program like that is going down the drain. Yeah. True. Well, worth a shot, right? No, I don't know. Corruption is a real problem, and I think it takes an active effort from really invested, really good people to make something work. I don't know. You know something I fight with people about all the time, Perseus? and maybe some other people in chat will be interested in this too. I fight with people all the time, and you guys have probably witnessed it in here about the virtues of capitalism versus ideas like socialism or communism, things like that. And a big thing I run up against is people will say, "Well, communism and socialism sound great in theory, but when you really think about it, um, none of these systems account for human greed. None of these systems account for what humanity is." And I've always made the point that, like, I don't think human nature is to be evil and greedy. I think that that's a human tendency that develops out of our conditions. But there pretty much has been some example of some kind of corruption or greed in pretty much every variety of humanity that we've seen. I don't know that there's ever been a truly egalitarian society. So I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Do you guys think that human nature inherently prevents us from adopting an anarcho-syndicalist model or a communist model or a socialist model, or do you think that it's merely a result of our conditions, or do you think it's a little bit column A, a little column B? Do you think if we had the right conditions or the right starter programs that we could fight against that? Because that's kind of how I feel. Show me around Bangkok. That sounds pretty fun. Human greed. That's just the inherent nature of man. It's in man's nature to want, covet, and hoard. I don't know though. I don't know that I buy that. I don't know that I buy that because I feel like, well, number one, you've got a vested interest in saying that and believing that. Number one, you know, like who's got a bigger vested interest than a billionaire, somebody who's set to become a billionaire, in getting people to believe that it is in man's nature to want, to covet, to hoard. So, it's kind of hard for me to just take it at face value. But that being said, it's clearly in some people's nature. It's clearly in some people's nature because there are some people who are covetous and greedy from a very young age. And then there are people that I think become covetous and greedy through time and effort on the part of the system, because I think the system has a vested interest in making us self-interested and greedy. Self-interested and greedy is what benefits the system. Oh yeah, it's both, and just has a lot to do with the will of the richest and most influential at a given moment. Yeah, that's true as well, and that's one of the reasons why I also think that I'm probably right about this great wealth transfer resulting in different economic policies being adopted by different parts of the world. Because I think that a lot of the people who are going to inherit this money are going to know on some level that their longevity is predicated on keeping the working class afloat. Because if they don't figure out some way to deal with us and provide our needs and everything else, if they don't figure out some way to meet human need and to create better systems, then the working class is going to turn on them. And sheer numbers is enough to win any conflict. You can win pretty much any conflict with sheer numbers. I wonder when TJ's landing. Daddy's going to tell me, but I do wonder. This is going to be so fun. If I'd have to point out a flaw about myself, I like sleeping around a bit too much. Even my dad has complained it's making him look bad. Oh shit! I forget. Percy. Are you bi? Like, who you fucking? Because I know, I'm pretty sure, isn't it still kind of taboo to be gay in Thai culture? Too many people only think for themselves in this day and age. Of course, everyone thinks of themselves, Autumn. Canis canum erit. What does that mean? I like girls only, so I'm gay. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough. It's not taboo, it's pretty accepted. Oh, okay, cool. Shows you how much I know. We need to have more conversations about that. Like, what are some cultural differences between Thailand and the US? Like, what are some big ones that stick out to you? Now, I'm sure there's more that stick out between the UK and Thailand. I'm pretty sure that's where you're at right now. But, I don't know shit about the UK. I know they got fish and chips. I know they got people with weird accents. But I don't know much about them outside of that. I know that's where House is from. Canis Canomedit. Dog eat dog. That's not how humans naturally operate, though. Well, okay, here's the thing. Some humans naturally seem to operate that way, but the general tendency among humanity seems to be towards cooperation. Would you agree there? In Thailand, we have the concept of losing face. People hate losing face, being made to look bad in some way due to their shortcomings. Oh, okay. Is that where the term to save face comes from? So, okay, expound on that a little bit more. Because, like, Americans, like, some of us are kind of. But here's the thing in America, if you are too concerned about how you look or how you're presented, you're considered pretentious, you know? So it's almost like the opposite impulse. If I'm picking up what you're putting down correctly, they don't like to eat crow. So like they don't like to admit when they were wrong. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to ask Perseus if that's true. I'm assuming if you say so, probably. In America, we just lie to ourselves harder when we are told we are wrong or shown our hypocrisy. Oh, you're talking about us. Yeah, I would say that's true. Both. I kind of get what Perseus is talking about. Oh, okay. A friend of mine is very friendly with a bar girl. He was her regular for a while, but one night she was kind of flirting around with another customer in front of him. He went for another girl. Next day, she was pissed because she lost face. Deleted her Instagram in rage. Okay, so she made herself look. She made herself look dishonorable, basically, by making it look like she's kind of like slutty, basically. And when he responded to that the way most monogamous people would, which is by like, okay, well, I'm just not going to pursue her then. It was like a confirmation of that. It was like, oh shit, now I really do look slutty because this person that everybody knows was flirting with me is now not pursuing me, and they're going with somebody else. So I look like the whore, and yeah, that is wild. That is just like somebody completely unable to cope with their own shortcomings. She lost face because her customer went for another girl. Yeah, yeah. In the same bar. Oh shit. Oh shit. Yeah. That is wild. Okay, yeah, that is a little different because I feel like if that happened in America, I feel like I feel like if that happened in America, that would be like I feel like the girl would not even make an issue of that. Wouldn't even care. Because if a girl's like gonna do that, she's not gonna care about how she's like perceived. I guess it's not unthinkable for a girl to get really mad because somebody reacts in that way. But I think most of the time they just be like, oh well, his loss or whatever. The point is she was seen as weaker or lower. Right, right, right. But it was through her own conduct, you know? It was not like that. It's not like that person dishonored her in some way. Not really, you know? Yeah, she was so angry about it, she left the bar and went to another one to work at. Oh, damn, that's fucking crazy. So when you say a bar girl, do you mean like a bartender, or is that like is that like a strip dancer, or what? Yeah, that just wouldn't be a big deal unless someone really cared here in the US. Yeah, like unless it was like a customer you'd had for years and years and years and years and years, and they'd always flirted with you. You guys had maybe dated a few times or something like that, and then they started going to somebody else just because you flirted with somebody. Then it would be like that would be considered, I think, a betrayal on some level. But it would be like considered like a personal thing between those two. No, I don't even think anybody would think because in America there's this concept. I don't even know if we have a word for it or a way to talk about it really, just clearly and obviously. But there's a concept of like in groups and out groups. I don't know how to put it. Like in America, it's just assumed that you should act whatever way you want as long as you're not actively physically hurting other people. And you know, people within your in group and that are cool are gonna be accepting or whatever, and people that aren't are not. And so, you know, it's kind of like the weird glue that holds our society together, despite there being so many different weird little in groups. You know, the Christians kind of do whatever they want, and the only time they get protested is when they're doing something really egregious. And queer people kind of do what they want, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. And like nobody really cares what nobody really cares about something unless they're worried that they are going to be judged by their in group in America. And in America, the only people that would care about something like that would be people who would probably already be disgusted by the bar scene in general. And so nobody would even think to make it a big deal in that way because nobody would think about it from like an honor-based standpoint or whatever, or a purity standpoint or a weakness or class status. You know, like that. None of that would factor into it. I feel like America just has so many subcultures. It's hard to pin down individual taboos. Exactly. 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 That's a good way to put it. America has so many individual subgroups that it's hard to pin down taboos, and very often taboos are really only taboos if they're a taboo within your individual subgroup. That's why one of the best ways to get at MAGA people is to shame them for things that are shameful within MAGA. Like shaming them for things that are shameful to leftists, it's not going to get you anywhere. You know, they don't care. Here's another example. You are younger than someone in Thailand and you correct someone older than you about something. They lose face and are seen as weaker. My dad used to hate it when I corrected his military general friend about what jets the U.S. Air Force has decommissioned. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. Yeah, see, okay. See, America has that same thing, but that's kind of a contextual example of where it applies here in the U.S., right? So, um, it's not as it's something that it's actually seen as progressive and forward thinking to not feel this way, but in a lot of traditional settings it's still very much considered taboo to try and give advice or correct anyone that's older than you unless you do it in the exact right way. There's like a whole etiquette surrounding that act. So that's weird, right? In you guys' culture, it's wrapped up in this whole set of overall guidelines, maybe, and this kind of like overall cultural driving principle. Whereas in America, that particular act has cultural connotations, but they're not widely followed. It's another subgroup thing. It's another variation that I think comes from America's reliance on subgroups and America's um, insistence on being kind of like a intellectually diverse place, I guess. For the record, he was trying to say the F-22 will be decommissioned because the U.S. Is rolling out F-35s. Yeah, as far as I know, they're not decommissioning the F-22. They might they might be decommissioning some of the fleet. You know, that wouldn't surprise me. But air forces are constantly moving around different jets and changing out this, that, or the other thing. Deployments vary, you know. Here in a minute, I might end this stream and start a new one. You know, we can reactivate the algorithm, you know. And this time, don't ban every troll out of chat, Perseus. Obviously, if they're being stupid, like if they're being too stupid, do. But we need some of them. Before you do, okay. How are you doing? Aw. You got any more questions for me? Okay, yeah. You're right. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go right this second. Yeah, I do. And how am I doing? I'm honestly doing great, y'all. I needed this a lot. It has been really fucking nice for me to not have the constant pressures of parenthood on me right this second and the constant pressures of just being a member of a household, you know? Like, vacations are nice. I've not been able to take one in literal years. It's been literal years since I've had just a few days to relax and chill and where I didn't feel like I was expected to work or something like that. I mean, this is work, but it's not, you know, it's like I don't remember who the dude is, but you work a job you like, you'll never work a day in your life, something like that. It's not the same. It's not like being expected to do the dishes and change a diaper every hour and, you know, constantly try and be playful and happy and everything. I love my son, but it's been a learning curve to get used to the demands of adulthood, or not adulthood, but parenthood. I've been used to the demands of adulthood for a while, but it's been a learning curve to get used to the demands of parenthood, and this is a really nice break, honestly. And so far, the food experience has been fucking pretty fantastic. I mean, Glitch Dash, saint that he is, has been paying for most of my meals. So, although I did buy myself on the second day we were traveling, I bought myself a biscuit that I didn't end up eating. I thought I wanted it, but it was just kind of an impulse buy when I first woke up. I wasn't really fully awoke. So he ended up eating that because I brought up that I had it. He ate it fucking cold and everything. He ate that fucking thing up like he was starving. So I'm glad I gave it to him. But we got Waffle House on the first night we were traveling, and that was really good. Really fucking good. We got Vietnamese food just a little bit earlier. That's where I got my bubble tea at. That kind soul. He even paid for my bubble tea. But last night I just had some Rice Krispie treats for dinner, basically. bought some snacks at the Dollar General that I knew I would be able to get through pretty much no matter what mood I was in, that I wouldn't have any textural issues with, and that I knew would be calorically dense. So, got me a couple packs of these to munch on last night, and any other time when I'm feeling a bit peckish but don't want to go overboard and try and walk somewhere and get my own food or something like that, or have something delivered. Just a couple little $1.25 snack packs to munch on and give myself some kind of caloric density. But yeah, I am awesome, honestly. I am great. I'll show you guys my view again because it's just so beautiful. Glitch Dash seems like a cool dude from the drive stream posts I saw. Parts I saw, yeah, dude, Glitch Dash is an awesome dude. He is really fun to be around. Has a really good deadpan, really good sense of humor, really good deadpan. Says wild shit, and then I have to be like, are you joking or are you serious? And then I'd be like, no, of course I'm joking. Yeah, this is my view right now. This is Jersey. Can you believe it? I didn't know Jersey was this beautiful. I always thought Jersey was nothing but, dude, I'm an idiot. That's what I'm realizing. That's what I realize that more a little bit every day, y'all. And one of the things I've realized on this trip, like many trips I've taken, is that I'm a fucking retard. I thought New Jersey was nothing but one big city. I thought New Jersey was literally nothing but one giant city from coast to coast. But it's not. Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Yeah, that's so the Northeast. Any questions for me before you go? Yeah. So like, yep, all kinds of deciduous trees and hills masquerading as mountains. I really could sit and look out at this view all day. Mm. Mm. You didn't hear the question? My bad. I was just saying, what when it comes to trans people in Thailand, what is the like cultural feeling there? It's very difficult to change your legal documents, but the surgery is very good quality. People are generally accepting, but you get a few oldies that cry about you being a deviant. Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like. So, is it better or worse than America? Would you say that America's on the whole worse at it? better. Surgery is cheaper. HRT is more accessible, and people are slightly more tolerable to you. Especially since you're able to pass easier. Damn. So what you're telling me is that America, land of the free, home of the brave, is worse at letting people express themselves openly than fucking Thailand. Southeast Asian country with a population of like 10 million people? I don't know how many people live in Thailand, actually. I just know that it's like probably not as big as America. Certainly, it's not the country that goes around branding itself the land of the free. It's just ridiculous. This country doesn't give a shit about living up to its morals. Please don't die. I think I'm alright. I think I'm okay. Just need my hanky. Oh. You know, I'm here, bitch. What's up, Casey? Ugly as fuck. Whatever. I ain't out here trying to look beautiful for you, bitch. The people who think I'm beautiful are numerous and many, and just because you are not among their number does not mean your opinion is worth anything. Case in it. Case in the joint. Casey in the joint. Thailand is about as big as Texas. Oh shit, really? What? Is it really? Dude, I'll tell you one thing about America. This is something a lot of Americans won't admit to you. In the mind of an American, America's this big on the world map. Like America, in the mind of an American, I'll be real with you. In the mind of an American, America's like this fucking big on the world map, right? In the mind of an American, America's this big on the world map. And every other country, about that big. Now, logically, rationally, I recognize that cannot be the case. But, goddamn, if you look at a fucking globe, you look at a projection of the world map, it sure enough does look like the U.S. should be one of the biggest countries out there, if not the biggest country out there. And so the idea that any country could be even close to the size of one of our biggest states is just mind-boggling to me. But I guess it makes sense if you think about like Ukraine is about the size of Texas, maybe even a little bigger. Russia is bigger than the United States and all of its territories combined. India is a pretty big country. Like, I don't know. I just don't think about these countries in terms of their actual size. It just goes to show you how little the average American actually knows about geography. You ever notice how every hotel has the cook chair facing the bed? What is even the point of that chair in the corner of the room? Well, in this one, the cook chair was actually just up against this desk thing because they've got a desk sitting here that you could use for, well, I mean, what I'm using it for. I'm working from home basically right now. So, yeah, I mean, they've got this set up here. So I think, honestly, this hotel room does a pretty good job of feeling like a functional hotel and not like a place where you bring people to fuck your wife and while you watch, Although this would be a nice hotel to do that at. The only thing this room is missing to that effect is a hot tub. Dude, the best night I ever had with cuckold fetish was actually in a hotel room with a hot tub. And we did a little bit of coke that night. And it was fucking great. And the dude who was supposed to be cucking me wasn't able to stay hard enough. And so I got to fuck her instead. Spring Hill Suites? No. Alaska is bigger than the entire South combined, including Texas. Yeah, that's the thing, is Alaska is one of the things that I always look at and compare. Like, Alaska's fucking a giant place. Just a massive, massive landmass. Oh, I'll get it. Yeah, dude. I got it all right. Good times. Anyway, I'm going to end this stream and I'm going to start a new stream and we will talk about whatever you guys want to talk about over there. I will see you guys on the next stream. Catch me over there in just